Now that we've finished the model, the next thing that we're going to do is set up the sheets for the project and add annotation. So the first step is to open your existing model, and what I'd like you to do is make sure that you have this model saved in the current situation, because you're going to be submitting this to me and I'm going to be redlining it, but in the meantime you can be working on the annotation. So we're going to do a save as. So you're going to do a save as and save this as a new project, as you have already saved the first project, and this new project will be called your 003 or I think you all put camp and then your initials, and that's fine. So you're going to put camp, your initials, and then add to the end of it anno, which is short for annotation. Annotation is things like dimensions, general notes, setting up sheets, and things like that. So once you hit save, you're going to have a new file, a new version of this file as a new Revit file, and that's the one you're going to begin working with. The reason for doing this is so that you can always go back to the original model file in case something happens or you want to go back to that prior level. So hit save, and the first thing we're going to do is create sheets. So you need to scroll down to the sheets section of your list. You should have a sheet 1 and sheet 2 on the first floor plan. If you double click on that, if you've drawn your model within the model space area that I'd given you originally, if you drew it within this rectangle, then it should appear inside the rectangle on the first floor plan, which this example it does. The elevation sheet, we're going to double check to see if our elevations, any of them, are getting cut off. Again, because I had told you to draw within the box, the elevation should all more or less be inside that box. One of the problems, though, is because we drew these things at kind of slightly different positions inside the box, we can end up with views that are cut off like this one and this one. So I'm going to show you how to fix that right now. If you select the view by just clicking on the viewport edge and then right click and choose activate view, you can turn on your crop region, which is here. So I'm going to show the crop region, and then we can make adjustments by clicking on the crop region that appears and clicking on the little buttons at the bottom and the top. And you see what I'm doing here is expanding the view, so I'm not cutting off the top of the house anymore, and I just want to see just enough of the house to see the edges of it. Now once you've fixed your crop region, you want to turn it off again, and then we're going to deactivate the view, and then you're able to pick that view up and move it so that it is within the title block area. Now when doing that, notice that this title for that view moved as well. So I have to click off of the viewport, select the title, and then I can move the title up right under the view to make the correction. Alright, so I'm going to continue to do that with all the views. So I'm going to do that one more time with this one. Select the viewport first. With the viewport highlighted, I right click and choose Activate View. Turn on the crop region. Fix what I'm seeing in the crop region. So make sure I can see the entire house, in other words. Once I've fixed it, turn off the crop region, deactivate the view, and then move the view so that it's in the correct position on the sheet. If the title goes along with it into a bad place, click off of the view, select the title, and move that so that it's right underneath the view. Alright, so as you can see, I did that with the rest of them. One of the things that does happen too, I want to point out, is as you're moving these views in place, once you have the others positioned as you would like. See, I'm going to move this view over a little bit just so I can make a little bit more room for this view over here. As you move a view, let me move it out of place. Watch what happens as soon as the view becomes centered with the other view. You see how I have two blue dashed lines that cross each other, and that shows you that those views now are aligned. So make sure that all your views are aligned and that your titles show up in the same position underneath the elevations, and then your first floor and elevation plans are ready to go. So the next step is we're going to be adding dimensions to the first floor, and we're going to be adding door and window schedules to this page. So pay attention to the next video to see how to do that.